Hello and welcome to our latest video summary of the week's news, carried on Estate Agent Today and Letting Agent Today. The commercial property world is currently in the south of France at the annual MIPIM conference. Those of us in the residential world, however, are still in Britain. But there's been no shortage of interesting stories for our industry this week, beginning with a dramatic intervention into the letting sector by the government. The Department of Communities and Local Government says that from next month, any council that wants to introduce private rental sector licensing schemes over 20% or more of their areas must first get ministerial approval. In recent years, many councils have introduced landlord licensing over large areas, and in Liverpool's case, over the whole city. The justification has often been that by licensing landlords, there will be improved conditions in the letting sector, leading to fewer incidents of antisocial behaviour by tenants. The rental industry has dismissed this approach as foolish and has described the scheme as simply a money-raising ploy by local councils, who have been levying landlord licence fees of as much as £500 per property. Now it looks as if councils will have to be more careful, undertake more research and have proper justification for licensing. This is a major victory for letting agents, landlords and the private rental sector. The government has done one other thing this week for the lettings industry. It's announced that from October it will be mandatory for every private rental property to have a smoke and carbon monoxide alarm. The move will help prevent up to 36 deaths and up to almost 1,400 injuries a year, according to official figures. Over in the estate agency world, the statistic of the week was 20%. That's the increase in stamp duty revenue set to be earned by the government in the 2014 to 2015 financial year, according to the Halifax. This increase, which means the Treasury will receive a cool £8 billion during the year, has three important signals. One, it means transactions are rising significantly. Two, it means there has been little impact on the market one way or the other by the change in stamp duty levels introduced in December. And three, it means stamp duty revenue for the first time the government has now, in 7 years, shown a rise over the boom year of 2007 to 2008. And talking of good figures, Foxtons defied city analysts by reporting an 8% increase in profits last year, despite the slowdown in the London market in the second half of 2014. The company's best performance was on the letting side, but despite that and reducing its headcount over the next few months, it said it is pressing ahead with new branches in 5 parts of Greater London. There has been expansion news for other agents this week too. Winkworth has announced that it's centralising its service for relocation and buying agents in a bid to get more corporate clients buying from its 90 branches. And Estates Direct, the semi-online agency, says it is going to go national from 2018. Currently, it's in part of the Midlands, Wales and Greater London. Purplebricks, one of the highest profile online agencies to open over the past year, may be aiming to float on the stock market this year, according to a Sky News report. Century 21 has opened another office in London, this time in Harrow, and Hamptons International, which has been making a lot of acquisitions of late, has teamed up with a consultancy to enter the affordable homes and regeneration market. Finally, we close our wrap of the week with 2 stories from the lettings sector. The first is of a tiny apartment on the border of Soho and Mayfair in central London. It measures just 300 square feet, so it is barely larger than a walk-in cupboard. But it's been let in just 40 minutes by letting agent E.J. Harris. It will cost the tenant £1,560 a week, and the tenant put down a £10,000 deposit. Meanwhile, down in Brighton, one landlord saw red, or to be exact, saw quite a few colours when he received a letter from the council asking him to join with his neighbours in sprucing up the appearance of his property. Instead of polishing the knocker and sweeping the front path, he hired a local artist and commissioned a mural painted across the front of the house. It features pictures of Queen Victoria, a British bulldog, a London tube train and Beachy Head Lighthouse. Why don't you pop around and take a look? It's not hard to find. That's it for this week. We'll be painting the town red every day next week with Estate Agent Today and letting agent today online. Until then, see you next time.